What is up, everybody? Adam Rank here with a very special edition of the Adam Rank podcast, a monumental day in Bears history, or at least we hope. Justin Fields has been officially named as the starting quarterback for the Chicago Bears. Matt Nagy making it official on Wednesday. There's no more fooling around. No more, hey, if Andy Dalton is still healthy, he's going to be the starting quarterback. None of that stuff is going to happen anymore. Justin Fields is now the unquestioned starter for the Chicago Bears. And it is a great day for anybody who has suffered for so long waiting for that franchise quarterback, the one that we thought we were going to get with Jay Cutler, the one that perhaps you remember Cade McNown being drafted, Rex Grossman. It depends on how far you go back in Bears history. Now, here's a couple of things, though, I do want to say right off the top. First of all, big thanks to everybody who is joining us. Big thanks to everybody who has downloaded the podcast. Appreciate you doing that. Appreciate everybody who joined us, because for some of you, this will be past tense. But who joined us in a live YouTube edition of this show. And of course, we're going to try to be more consistent with that as well. But I do want to thank you for jumping aboard. I will tell you right now that anybody who is listening who is typically coming in for stardom and situm stuff, we might not have an opportunity to get to that. We do. This is a special occasion. This is pretty big. Maybe I'll run through this and we'll exhaust all of the topics with Justin Fields and maybe be on our way. But the thing is, Justin Fields is the starting quarterback of the Chicago Bears. Matt Nagy made that official, and I know a lot of us were upset with Nagy, hoping that he would eventually come to his senses, and we don't know that he is, or that he has. You know, this could be something that came from above. This could have been a higher power than Matt Nagy. Perhaps Ryan Pace had seen enough, and we need to get our starting quarterback on the field. Let's see him run with the ones. I think that, against Cleveland, and if you ever check out the Tape Never Lies Network, which is actually, I think we're airing against them right now, but Draft Dr. Phil has a great breakdown of what happened in that Cleveland game. A lot of playing scared in Cleveland. They opened up the playbook a little bit more against the Detroit Lions. Now, obviously, Justin was taking some shots down the field, but now it feels like they're fully invested in this kid. They're going to let him go out there and do his thing, which is what they probably should have done all along. I will still contend that if he was the starting quarterback there in Inglewood, California, in a canopy, it's not a dome stadium, it's a canopy, that perhaps things would have been a little bit different. I think they go down and score a touchdown right after the huge kickoff return. Who knows how things could have been different, but it doesn't matter right now. And it doesn't matter. Like, honestly, I know a lot of people are talking about this and, somebody's like, hey, perhaps it is a situation where Matt Nagy, as the smoke show put it, I imagine Nagy got dragged into the back like that scene in Casino where the guy gets caught cheating. A lot of people feeling it was definitely it was Nagy's decision, Jerome? I don't know. Definitely not. That's what he's trying to say. Definitely not Matt Nagy's decision. And that's fine. Even if it was ultimately Matt Nagy, who cares? He made the right call now. You know what? It's a lot like I got a 6-year-old daughter. And there are times that I ask her to do things, and it's usually less than 50-50 that she's going to go ahead and do it. And it surprises the hell out of me when she does go out there and do the things that I ask her to do. It's shocking, almost. Similarly, it was shocking to be there on a Wednesday morning and driving to work at the NFL Network. It's about 10 in the morning in Los Angeles. And they announced, hey, a special announcement. Bears coach Matt Nagy makes an announcement. And immediately my mind thinks he's going to say Andy Dalton's healthy and ready to go. This is going to ruin my day. But instead, nope. We're going to go with Justin Fields. It's incredible. It's an incredible feeling. And to me, And this is no disrespect to anybody who is a current member of the Bears, who is currently out there working their ass off as a member of the Bears. But honestly, wins and losses to me this season, listen, I'm going to go, this weekend, I want them to beat the Raiders. I'm going to want them to beat the Lions again on Thanksgiving and sweep the Vikings and do all that stuff. So it's foolish to say that I don't care about wins and losses. But what I will say is, what is the most important thing for this coming season? What is the most important thing this year? What do we need to see the most? And to me, I think it's the development of the quarterback. You have to go out there and develop a quarterback. Find out what you have. He doesn't have to go out there and throw for 5,000 yards. He doesn't have to lead them to 13 wins or do anything like that. I think what you really want to do is make sure that the starting quarterback that you have is going to be your guy for the future. Similar to what happened last year with the Los Angeles Chargers. Justin Herbert takes over after Tyrod Taylor was stabbed in the lung, which, by the way, how is that still not one of the bigger stories of all time? Of all time. I feel like if they were still doing the show Drunk History and they were doing it 30 years from now, that some broadcaster would be just loaded telling the story about Tyrod Taylor getting stabbed in the lung by a Chargers team doctor and the aftermath of what happened there. It just baffles me. How does this happen? How does this happen in modern society? But then Justin Herbert goes out there. He plays great against the Kansas City Chiefs. And then he goes out there and he starts putting up great numbers. And even though the Chargers aren't winning, he's putting up great numbers. And you're like, okay, they're solid again. Now for years, the Chargers went from Drew Brees to Phillip Rivers. So I'm very bummed for them for the 2 seasons? The 1 season? No season. They went from Phillip Rivers immediately to Justin Herbert, right? Am I missing something? Was I missing something? Yeah, by the way, somebody did drop a line right now. The Tape Never Lies show is on right now. There's no way I'm drawing any viewers. It's fine. Listen, you guys are listening to it as a podcast eventually, so it's fine. Here's my thing. So Justin Herbert goes out there and proves that he's a starting quarterback. He's a franchise quarterback. The Chargers go out. They sign Balaga, right? They draft an offensive lineman in the first round. Now, the Bears don't have a first round pick, but the Bears already have 2 good rookie offensive linemen right now. So if you think about this season, let's say whatever happens, they win 8 games, they win 9 games, they win 12, they win 4. I don't care. I don't give a shit. What I want to see is development out of the quarterback. I want to go into every game thinking that we have an opportunity to win that game because our quarterback is so goddamn good. That's what I want. That's what the Chargers are experiencing right now. The Chargers went out there, made some tweaks on the offensive line. Obviously, they already had Keenan Allen. They had Big Mike Williams. They had Austin Eckler. You look at this Bears team, there's talent. I know that people like to pretend that there's not talent. Ryan Pace does a pretty nice job. Typically outside of the first round, although I'll say Justin Fields looks like he's going to be very good. And Roquan Smith was fine. So it's not it's not fair to say that Ryan Pace doesn't hit in the first round. But here's the thing. That's what we want. Have the offensive line develop, have Justin Fields develop, and then come into next year and have the kind of start similar to what we're seeing with the Los Angeles Chargers. That's the blueprint. That's the blueprint that I want to be following. The Chargers, huge win in Kansas City, come back home in a hostile environment, knock off the Raiders. This week they play host to the Cleveland Browns. And if they win that game, the Los Angeles Chargers would have to be considered the best team in the AFC. I know the Baltimore Ravens might have something to say about that. Not the Titans. Maybe the Bills. Okay, that's fair. That's fair. Okay, fine. But they're still in the conversation. If the Chargers beat the Cleveland Browns, they're in the conversation of best team in the AFC. Them, Bills, Ravens. That's the conversation. And I think that's the blueprint that we want to follow with the Chicago Bears. Justin Fields develops. We find out, like, yeah, this guy's pretty good. I know that Mike North will be super pissed because he doesn't think that Ohio State quarterbacks can be good in the NFL. By the way, if I can say one thing about that notion, the Ohio State quarterback myth, outside of not Cardale Jones, who was just drafted. Was it Cardale? No. Dwayne Haskins, excuse me. Dwayne Haskins was the first quarterback from Ohio State drafted in the first round since Art Schlichter in the very early 1980s, maybe even 79, but I think it was like 80, 81, maybe 82. Couldn't have been 83. I don't think it was the year that Elway was drafted. So it's not like these Ohio State quarterbacks were constantly being drafted in the first round and then ending up as busts. That wasn't happening. But everybody acts like it was. Cardale Jones was a fourth round pick. Terrell Pryor was not a first round quarterback. Ohio State doesn't recruit good quarterbacks. And you can even point out that they didn't even land Justin Fields. He went to Georgia. And then he transferred to Ohio State. So they didn't even hit on him. So it's bullshit to sit here and act like Ohio State quarterbacks can't be good. It's just the dumbest thing. You're not a smart person if you continue to hold on to that antiquated notion. And Mike, I love you, and I would love to come on and debate it with you. But here's my thing. Justin Fields is a different player. He's an absolute different player, and he's going to go out there and he's going to light it up. And then, you know what? I'll tell you one thing right now. Going into Las Vegas, I think the Bears are going to win this game. I really do. And you know what? You guys can talk about, not you who are with me or listening, but a lot of people went out there and they talked the talk about, hey, LA is Raiders country. The Raiders own Los Angeles. And that's fair. That's really, okay, fine. I agreed with it. I helped promote that. I said, hey, they're the only LA team to ever win a Super Bowl. I'm with you, Raiders fans. I agree. You own LA. I'm not sure that you own Las Vegas yet. I'm not sure that this is not going to be a partisan crowd. For as much as we saw the Raiders dominate SoFi Stadium, and they had a huge presence there, the Bears also had a huge presence at SoFi Stadium in week 1. And that was when Andy Dalton was the starter. You know people right now in Southern California, in Las Vegas, in Phoenix, in the Bay Area. All of these Bear fans are now doing whatever they can to get to Las Vegas this weekend. And I really do believe the Bears are going to walk into a friendly environment in Las Vegas. And they are going to go out there and support Justin and have a great game. The Raiders reeling a little bit. Short week. The Bears, a lot of juice. You got to know what it's like. I was talking to a former NFL receiver, and we were talking about quarterbacks and how different it is. And he told me, he said, listen, sometimes there's guys who are in there who are just, hey, the team knows. You can't fool the team. You can't make the team believe in a guy they don't believe in. And this former player was talking about a rookie quarterback that he played with. And he said, look, I knew when he was the quarterback, he didn't know the plays. He didn't study the playbook. I know every time we walked out there, we are going to go 3 and out. We knew that. And when the backup came in, and in this case, it was Brian Hoyer, and he said Brian Hoyer had a different mentality. And he didn't have the skills that a lot of guys had, but he made you believe. And that's what Justin Fields does. No disrespect to Andy Dalton, who's been a great, serviceable quarterback throughout his career. He's probably the best. I would have to really sit down and think about it. He might be one of the best backup quarterbacks in the NFL. Hey, you need to come in there, help us survive a game when the quarterback goes out. Andy Dalton can do it. Spot start for a week. Got it. He is not going to be somebody who's going to play 14 games and win 11 of them. It's just not going to happen. Justin Fields is that dude, and it permeates everything. It makes the offensive line better. It makes the defense better. It makes the fans better. Everybody feels it. We have a bona fide leader on our hands. Justin found out on Tuesday. His parents went out and celebrated. Justin stayed home with his dog and studied film. That's the kind of player he is. And it feeds off everybody. Everybody notices it. Everybody wants to play with him. And this effort that we're going to see this week, because even against the Lions, they played way better. It wasn't the dog shit that we had seen the past couple of weeks. And I think the players even knew going into Cleveland that they weren't going to take off the training wheels. You know what I'm saying? They're like, hey, we got you a Nintendo. You don't get the controllers yet. Like, what good is this? This week, I believe that changes. And if Bill Lazor, and it appears that Bill Lazor is still going to call the plays. Bill Lazor is us. Like Bill Lazor, I loved his responses when people would ask him, like, hey, what do you think? What do you think about Justin Fields? He's like, I see the same things you guys see. I don't know what's going on. I'm watching the film just like you. I'm watching the games. I'm feeling it. And Justin even talked about it. About how he's up in the booth, not running around like a maniac. He's up in the booth, calmly calling the plays. And the thing is, I love this situation. I don't like head coaches calling the plays unless you're some veteran, unless you're Andy Reid and been doing this for a number of years. And even so, the Chiefs, even a Super Bowl winning team like the Chiefs, they still make too many errors in game management, clock management, stuff like that. Because when the coach is calling the plays, it's just too much. It's just, stop it. Go out there, be the head coach. I think Matt Nagy, I like Matt Nagy. I think he's fun. I think he's a cool front man. You know, but he's one of those, it's like having a band and your front man is fine. Like Chris Robinson's great. His brother was driving that band because he's such an excellent musician. And I think that this is pretty much what we're going to be expecting to see. Let's get this out there. Yeah. Connection with Mooney. You know, I guess we can drop a few fantasy takes. I will say this too. Allen Robinson, forgive me if I have the numbers not exact. I believe these numbers are correct. Targets with Justin Fields as quarterback. Darnell Mooney, 15. Allen Robinson, 14. It's not like he's ignoring Allen Robinson. I don't know why people are acting like Allen Robinson has disappeared, that Allen Robinson has forgot how to play football. I think that they're kind of effing with Allen Robinson by making him play on the franchise tender. Like, that's not cool. You should have just signed him long term. If you're going to invest in Justin Fields, invest in Allen Robinson. And by the way, as much as I do like Pace, and I think that Pace is pretty good, I like Pace as a general manager. Jesus Christ, your cap management sometimes just leaves a lot to be desired. I can't deal with it sometimes. Like, what is happening in this world where we couldn't keep Kyle Fuller? I know this is another issue, but Jalen Johnson was selected by Pro Football Focus as an all-pro cornerback through the first quarter of the season. He's good. He's amazing. And yet, if you would have kept Kyle Fuller, this would be a lot different. Because no disrespect to Duke Shelley and the other guys who are out there, you're not good compared to Kyle Fuller. Kyle Fuller is better than you. And I mean no disrespect by saying that. Like, that's I don't know why people are so afraid to say things like this. Like, don't say that. Like, don't knock Duke. Look, Kyle Fuller's better. Like, I'm not saying shit. Listen, if somebody came out, I think that I'm very funny. But if somebody was like, hey, Bill Burr is going to go on ahead of you at the Comedy Store, I'd be like, yeah, that makes sense. He's funnier. He's better. He's more polished. Yeah, I don't think less of myself as a human being. And I don't think Duke Shelley should think less of himself as a human being. Because, you know, he's still fine. Yeah, Gibson has stepped up. Yeah. Listen. Here's the thing. Like, a lot of these Bears have stepped up. You know, as excited as we are about, this is the thing too. Like, I know that I'm talking about player development, and I just want to see improvement. I just want to see our quarterback develop. I want to get Tevin Jenkins into the lineup at some point. I want to get the other guy. I want to get Larry into the lineup at some point. Here's my thing. The defense has been playing pretty good. Pretty nice. During the offseason, I told everybody that, Bobby Quinn did not have the sack totals that everybody wanted him to. Like, a lot of people just look at, hey, like, let's look at the sack totals. Bobby Quinn was one of the best at creating pressure on the quarterback last season. He was top 10 in that category. This was according to Next Gen Stats. My friend Nick Shook from the NFL Media Group, from NFL Network, said, hey, when you look at the top 10 guys at creating pressure on the quarterback, Bobby Quinn was in that group. He was better at pressuring the quarterback than Khalil Mack last season. And yet everybody just thought that Bobby Quinn was a bust because he didn't have double-digit sacks. You sometimes have to look beyond that stuff. Like, I'm a fantasy guy. Sometimes you got to look at the full story. And Bobby Quinn was an excellent pass rusher last season. So to me, I think the defense is playing really well. I look at this schedule upcoming, and I know that a lot of people, let's pull it up. Let's pull up the Bears schedule right now. I should have had this. That's my son. He's totally cool. Don't worry, he's fine. Nothing's wrong. He just wants to come see Daddy. He wants to talk about the Chicago Bears. Let me just say this. In our next upcoming games, at Las Vegas, not conceding that loss. Playing host to the Green Bay Packers, I'm not conceding that shit. At Tampa Bay, that's going to be a tough one. Versus San Francisco, not conceding it. At Pittsburgh, not conceding it. Not with the way that Ben Roethlisberger is playing. You cannot look at this Pittsburgh Steelers team right now and say that they are better than the Chicago Bears. I am not going to say that the Raiders are better. I'm not going to say that the Packers are fine. Tampa Bay, tough game. Two of those games are tough. Fine. San Francisco, Pittsburgh, Las Vegas. Am I an idiot for thinking that we can go 3-2 over this stretch? No, I am not. I am not. Because Justin Fields has everybody believing. Sean Desai has done a great job with this defense. They are not elite. Yeah. Check the defense on those teams. We will not concede these victories I think that forget what I said or no. Listen, Tampa Bay's fine. Tampa Bay's a good team. You know what? And I know that there was a lot of emotion. Tom Brady and that Tampa Bay Buccaneers team did not look good last week. They looked fine. They won the game. They did not look good. We'll see what happens this week. And by the way, I know people might not remember this. We beat the Buccaneers last year with Nick Foles at quarterback. Why are we conceding any games? There's no need for that now. Not with Justin Fields. Not with making the right decision. And I don't care whose decision it was. I don't care what got us to this point. We're here now. We're here now. It's like going to a concert. I didn't have a ticket. We had to call security. We had to call the box office. I'm in the goddamn show now. Justin Fields is a starting quarterback. It's a new era for the Chicago Bears fans. I hope that you all are enjoying this. I hope you are taking it in and just loving every second of it. Listen, we've waited a long time for this. This is exactly what we asked for. This is exactly what we asked for on draft night. Get us a quarterback. We dreamed of this. I remember my IG. I went back and looked at it. Posting those photos, those jersey swaps with Justin Fields in a Bears jersey. Like, what? Imagine this. The night before the draft, I posted a photo of Justin Fields. And I said, give me one more night where I can just imagine what the world would be like if Justin Fields was our quarterback. I didn't say Trey Lance. I didn't say Mac Jones. I said Justin Fields. This is the quarterback that I've wanted. This is the quarterback that I've wanted to go with. And now he is being given the opportunity to lead this franchise. Everybody in Chicago should be excited. This is an exciting time. I don't want to hear anything about Ohio State quarterbacks or the Bears' history. None of that matters right now. What matters right now is that Justin Fields is our quarterback, and shit is about to change. Okay, so everybody enjoy Sunday. I'm going to try to get out to Las Vegas, although I got to work. There's a lot of things going on. Enjoy the game. Support the Bears. Bear down. Thanks to everybody for listening to the Adam Rank podcast. By the way, sorry. You can, if you want, you go watch Fantasy Live if you need my fantasy takes. Go to NFL.com/rank. Check it out. See you guys soon. Bear down.